So get this right. The average Western millennial will have spent, get this, 10,000 hours gaming by the time they turn 21.
Wow.
That's crazy, right? That's like working a full-time job for over 5 years.
It is, yeah.
It makes you think, though, right? Like, how can we bring that level of engagement into other areas like, say, the professional world?
Well, it's not just mindless entertainment, right? All those hours spent gaming actually build real skills, problem solving, strategic thinking, teamwork, even resilience, when things don't go your way.
Exactly. And that brings us to today's deep dive, gamification in recruitment. Now, we're not saying, make candidates jump over pixelated hurdles during interviews or anything like that.
Right.
But using those game-like elements, to kind of shake up that traditional hiring process, especially for millennials and Gen Z.
Yeah, could be a game changer.
Totally. And the interesting thing is gamification isn't even new.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the U.S. Army was using it way back in 1999.
Oh, wow.
They had this online game called America's Army. It was designed to give potential recruits a taste of what military life was really like.
So they were kind of pioneers in a way.
Yeah, in a way, for sure. But today, things have evolved way beyond, virtual boot camps.
Yeah.
Companies are using gamification for everything from assessing candidate skills to building brand awareness and even giving potential hires a sneak peek into their culture.
Yeah, it's a way to go beyond the limits of resumes and interviews, right? Because games can reveal a candidate's skills and personality in a way that just talking about them can't.
Yeah, for sure.
Think about it. How often do you maybe enhance your teamwork skills section on a job application?
All the time. But a game can actually show how you work in a team. Plus, it's way more engaging than filling out endless forms.
Right.
And our sources highlight a ton of potential benefits, too, like tapping into intrinsic motivation. People love games. It turns that application process from a chore into a challenge that people actually want to conquer.
Exactly. And it can also give potential hires a more realistic preview of the job and the company culture instead of relying on, those super polished marketing brochures.
Right.
Candidates get a taste of what it might actually be like to work there.
Okay, so let's talk about some real-world successes, like L'Oreal India. They created this game called Reveal to recruit for roles in marketing, HR, sales, and operations.
And it was a huge success. Over 120,000 people played Reveal, and L'Oreal won a bunch of industry awards for it.
Talk about a win-win.
Yeah.
And then there's PwC Hungary.
Yeah.
They developed this game called Multi-Poly, kind of like the classic board game, but with real-world business scenarios. And this is where it gets really interesting, right? It wasn't just about fun and games. PwC saw a 190% jump in applications after introducing Multi-Poly, and new hires who'd played the game said they felt way more prepared for the roles.
What's really interesting there is how Multi-Poly familiarized those candidates with the company's values and culture. They weren't just learning about PwC, they were experiencing it.
Okay, 190% increase? That's amazing.
Yeah.
But wait, there's more. Have you heard about what GCHQ did?
The British intelligence agency?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Their recruitment campaign is legendary in the world of gamification.
It was like something straight out of a spy movie.
Yeah.
They hid this coded message on their website, and if you could crack it, you were invited to apply for a role. Can you believe they got 95 million website visitors?
What's so brilliant about GCHQ's approach is that it was a perfect pre-screening tool. They were looking for people with exceptional code-breaking skills, and the challenge itself helped them find those people.
Talk about thinking outside the box. But even with all these amazing examples, gamification isn't a magic solution, right? Our sources also point out some potential downsides.
Right. One important thing to consider is that games can quickly become outdated, especially in the fast-paced world of technology. Keeping them fresh and engaging requires ongoing investment.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then there's the question of measuring return on investment. How do we know if gamification is actually leading to better hires or a more efficient recruiting process?
It's not always straightforward. You need to think about what metrics you're trying to improve, whether that's application rates, the quality of hires, or even employee retention down the line.
Okay, so lots to consider. But with all that said, it's clear that gamification has the potential to really shake things up in HR. Let's move on to some of the innovative providers popping up in this space, who are really pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, one that really stands out is Arctic Shores. They've created this game-based assessment called Firefly Freedom that Deloitte's using to recruit for their apprenticeship program.
And what's really cool about Firefly Freedom is that it collects tons of data on each candidate, over 3,000 data points.
Wow.
Then they use machine learning to get really deep insights into things like personality and cognitive abilities.
It's a great example of how technology can make recruitment more data-driven and potentially more objective.
For sure. Another provider worth mentioning is Codility. It's a platform that focuses on assessing coding skills, and it's being trialed by some big financial services companies.
What's interesting about Codility is that it lets candidates showcase their technical skills in a really realistic environment. It could be a really effective way to streamline the recruitment process for tech roles, especially those initial technical interviews that can be pretty tedious.
So we've explored the potential benefits, the potential challenges, and some of the companies leading the charge. But let's bring it back to you, the listener, especially if you're in HR and thinking about adding gamification to your toolkit.
Yeah, it's crucial to ask yourself the right questions before jumping in. Don't just do it because it sounds cool or trendy.
Exactly. Make sure it aligns with your specific goals and challenges. What are your biggest pain points in recruiting right now? Could gamification genuinely address those?
Yeah, and of course you need to consider your target audience. What platforms do they use? What kind of games would resonate with them?
Yeah, and it's important to remember that gamification is an evolving field, right? What works today might not work tomorrow. You need to be ready to adapt and experiment to find what resonates best with your candidates. Yeah, it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. You really need to tailor it to your company, your culture, and the specific roles you're recruiting for.
One thing that really struck me from the research was the idea of using gamification to measure soft skills, like communication or problem solving.
Yeah.
Which can be difficult to assess in traditional interviews.
Oh, totally. Like, how do you really know if someone's a team player just from asking them about it? A game can actually put those skills to the test. Like, remember that article about Knack in there, the wasabi waiter game?
Yeah.
It sounds so simple, right? You're just a server at a sushi restaurant trying to keep customers happy.
But underneath, it's analyzing every single thing you do in the game. Every click, every decision, every millisecond of how you react. It's pretty amazing what they can learn about a person's personality and cognitive abilities from that.
It really shows how gamification can reveal things that traditional methods might miss. But it also makes you think about the future of recruitment. Right. Could we see a world where games become the standard way to assess candidates?
It's certainly possible technology is advancing so quickly, and as games become more sophisticated, they have the potential to provide even deeper insights into a candidate's potential.
Imagine a future where you apply for a job, and instead of sending a resume, you play a game that's specifically designed to assess the skills needed for that role.
It could make the whole process more objective, more engaging, and maybe even more fun.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the how of gamification, but let's zoom out for a second and consider the why. Why is this trend gaining so much traction right now?
I think it speaks to a larger shift in how we think about work and the workplace. Millennials and Gen Z have grown up in a world where technology is seamlessly integrated into their lives. They expect that same level of engagement and interactivity in their professional lives, too.
Right, they're used to instant feedback, personalized experiences, and a sense of progress and achievement. Gamification taps into all of that.
It's about creating a recruitment experience that's not just efficient, but also enjoyable for both the candidates and the employers.
Exactly. It's about making the process feel more human, even though it's powered by technology. It's about seeing candidates not just as data points on a resume, but as individuals with unique skills and talents, and using games to unlock that potential.
I think that's a really important point. Gamification, at its best, can help us move beyond a purely transactional view of recruitment and create a more meaningful connection between companies and candidates.
Totally. It's about creating a win-win situation where everyone benefits. The company finds the best talent, and the candidates get to showcase their skills in a way that's engaging and authentic. And who knows, maybe they even have a little fun along the way. Feels like we've only just scratched the surface here, There's so much more to explore when it comes to gamification and recruitment.
It really is a fascinating field, and it's evolving so rapidly. It's exciting to think that we're just beginning to understand the full potential of what games can do, not just in recruitment, but in all sorts of areas.
Makes me think, what if we applied these principles of gamification to the whole employee life cycle, not just recruitment?
Oh, interesting thought. Imagine onboarding programs that feel like exciting quests, performance reviews that resemble leveling up in a game, even professional development opportunities that unlock new skills and rewards.
Yeah, like we could have virtual badges for mastering certain tasks or collaborating effectively on projects. It could be a way to keep people engaged and motivated throughout their careers.
It's a compelling idea. It could really transform company culture and create a more dynamic and rewarding work environment. But of course, we need to be mindful of the potential pitfalls.
Right, we don't want to create a system that feels forced or manipulative. The key is to design these experiences thoughtfully and make sure they align with, people's genuine motivations and needs.
Exactly. We need to balance the fun and engaging elements with real substance and value. It's not just about slapping a game-like interface on existing processes. It's about fundamentally rethinking how we approach work and learning.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, from real-world examples to potential challenges and future possibilities. It's clear that gamification is a powerful tool, and it's going to be really interesting to see how it continues to shape the world of work.
I think the key takeaway is that gamification at its best is about tapping into our natural desire for challenge, growth, and connection. It's about making work more engaging, more meaningful, and maybe even a little more fun.
Absolutely. It's been fantastic exploring all of this with you.
The pleasure's been all mine.
And to our listeners, as always, we'd love to hear your thoughts. What are your experiences with gamification? Do you think it has the potential to revolutionize the way we work? Hit us up on social media and let us know. And don't forget to check out the show notes for links to all the resources we talked about today. Until next time, keep diving deep.